You know, I was wrong. I was wrong when I filmed that video a few months ago about making the decision to move back to Taiwan based on my priorities of the 5 things in life. That was a grave mistake. I was innocent and naive enough to believe that if I could balance all these things in my life, ideally, career would be last in terms of my priorities. I had my career down, I had my friends down, my hobbies down. I had enough time to film. So I thought, if I had all these things down, why can't I have it all? That's where the problem went. I was greedy. I did a brief analysis of 5 things that I prioritized and felt important was in my life: family, friends, relationships, hobbies, and then my career. I felt like I had my career down. It's okay, I don't have to prioritize it as much. And I made that analysis way back and said, okay, maybe it's time to move back to Taiwan to prioritize the 2 things that I listed the most in my list in life. That's where I went wrong. My analysis was based on one big assumption. I made the assumption that career wouldn't take all of my energy when I moved back to Taiwan. That's where the whole equation went wrong. I said all these 4 things versus career. However, if you think about it, the way that people talk about it has always been work-life balance. So work is here, and life are all these 4 things. So now, moving back to Taiwan a few months later, I had to prioritize all these 4 things versus my career. And it's not an easy equation to still balance, and that's where it went like that. Family, relationship, hobbies, friends, all these things that are on this side of the spectrum, I had less time to prioritize them. And over the last few months, I've been trying to find that back. However, as most people, having to go to the office 5 days a week for more than 8 hours a day and adding that commute time, minus eating, minus showering, minus alone time, that leaves very little time for hobbies, family, relationships, and friends. So that's where I went wrong. I made the assumption that I had all the time in the world that I did, and I could have as much work flexibility as I did in the States. That's not to say that I'm not enjoying my life. I'm just saying that I was wrong to assume. And given that, I've been trying very hard to find my balance back in life, because the way that I balanced life when I did in New York, it was not going to work here anymore. I now have to take into account that work just will take more time of the day. It's just the different demands of work in Taiwan versus the States, but we'll get to that in another video. What I've been doing to navigate work-life balance, it's a work in progress. It's a fluctuating equation, but these are the things I've done. First, I prioritized hobbies, knowing that my personality is someone that will put off things that I feel like are less priority unless I'm forced to do it. I decided to sign up for a class on Tuesdays, and that means on Tuesdays I would not work overtime. It was a way and a means to get me to say, on Tuesdays, I prioritize my hobbies. That was a good progress. Still ways of working, but as you see, now I'm getting my foot back into filming more videos. It means that I'm somehow getting a little bit better at prioritizing my hobbies. In terms of family, relationships, I try not to let my stress and work anxieties get the better of me, even though I do have to apologize to my loved ones that I still let it affect me sometimes. I'm trying to be better at it, but a shout out to you if you're also facing the same things. And friends, having to navigate long distance friendships is very different. Friends, you might not talk to them every day. However, you still have to keep that action happening. So what I try to do now is when I'm commuting to work or from work every day, I try to leave those time to update my friends on whether Instagram just to say, hey, I'm alive, I'm doing okay, how are you? And checking with them. Trying to schedule FaceTimes, even though it's a little bit harder with 12, 13, 16-hour time differences, but trying to get those FaceTime schedules. So I still get my FaceTime with my friends. But as I mentioned, work-life balance now, it actually means work, relationship, family, friends, hobbies, balance. That's actually the more realistic equation. And it is a ever-changing challenge of balancing. Sometimes one side wins and sometimes the other side wins. But we're all works in progress. I just wanted to share this in advance as I am still working through this progress to show you a little bit of not only the good parts, but also the in progress parts, because I've had a lot of people that reached out to me and said, you really inspired me to move back to Taiwan. I just want to also let these friends know that there are challenges that I am slowly realizing as I am here and learning new things every day as someone that hasn't lived in Taiwan after all these years. I'm learning the art of reverse culture shock. And that reverse culture shock comes out many ways. Not particularly because I feel like people are different, but more so because the way that I'm interacting with Taiwan is very different. I've acted as a traveler and a tourist for the last 7 to 8 years, and now I am interacting as a resident. And a tourist versus a resident, of course, that's very different. I now have to figure out what I want to do on the weekends. And it's not that I don't know what to do on the weekends, but it's finding consistent things to do to find that rhythm back in life. Even my diet is very different. So I love Taiwanese food, but I found myself splurging on some of the most unhealthy stuff when I was traveling back. But now that I have moved back, how do I find that balanced, healthy diet while still indulging myself on all the great, more junkier side of the food? So that's another challenge. And another thing is friendships. All these friends, I've only hung out with them once or twice a year, and now I have to find another rhythm back with these friends as well, to hang out with them on a more regular basis, and also find new friends. Now that I have more time on my hands on the weekends to get to meet more people, find my workout rhythm, find my artistic rhythm. Anyways, that's just the art of the balance of realizing where I went wrong, but trying to balance it all. That's the theme of this next phase of my life, I guess. Finding balance. Anyways, that's all I had to say today. I hope this helps if you've navigated this change in life in the past and have any tips on finding that balance, getting that stable footing in a new environment, feel free to let me know. I'm really curious. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more. And I'll see you next time. Bye.